There's a peace inside us all. Let it be your friend. It will help you carry on in the end. Today on my own podcast, we break down Inside Us All. Hello, my friend. We meet again. Welcome to my own podcast, the only Creed podcast that we know of. My name is Andrew Colin, and with me, as always, is my friend, my co-host, the Lucy to my Desi, Reid Fenlaw. What's up, Reid?
I
was hoping you'd go, Lucy.
I'm home.
Yeah, there you go.
That's Ricky Ricardo.
Yeah, he plays Desi, doesn't he?
Desi Arnaz plays Ricky Ricardo. Ricky
Ricardo. Yeah, so we're all on the same page.
Desi
here.
Arnaz is the real actor, right?
Yes.
And Ricky Ricardo is the
Yes.
character. Okay.
We don't seem that stupid off the bat, right?
Okay.
Phew.
You dodged a real bullet train.
Yeah, good thing this isn't recorded and broadcast
to anyone.
To anyone who wants to download it.
Yeah, we're smart.
What's up, dude?
Oh man, I'm just living life to the best of my capabilities.
That's great.
Yeah, I think.
What makes you doubtful?
I don't know. Don't you ever just have doubts?
Yeah, I mean everybody does, don't they?
Like, don't you ever just do something and you're like, man, what if that was dumb?
You feel like you're alluding to something specific here.
No, just general life choices, I think.
Well, we do have a podcast that's about Creed that we sink a lot of time into.
We had time,
dumb.
Resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's fun and dumb.
It's fun. Yeah.
And I would argue that it's not dumb.
Oh, okay.
I would argue that
someone's getting value out of it.
I would like to think so. I think there's enough Creed fans out there that, and they haven't all found this yet. But when they do,
of course they haven't all found us yet.
they're gonna.
They've all found us.
I hope not yet. But they may want to. It's a nice stroll down memory lane.
That's true.
Or memory avenue.
And a look toward the future. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I think like our last episode was pretty. We talked about like actual meaningful stuff.
Yeah, a little heavier episode for sure. A little more meaningful than let's say Higher or something that's a little more of a bangster.
A bankster.
A bankster party anthem.
See, like, if I was you, I would question the choice of just using the word bankster.
I kind of want to walk that back. I meant banger of a party song.
Bankster, for some reason, sounds like a way you would like describe a pornography. Yeah. Oh, dude, that was a real bangster.
Yeah, a lot of banging took place.
Yeah, lots of bangs. So yeah, all that said, I'm pretty good, man. Feeling good. What about you? I'm sure you've got something to bitch about.
I always do.
Yeah, always.
Well, you and I before this met up with some friends and got some croissants.
Yeah, we did.
And it reminded me of a story I want to tell.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andrew.
So I preface this with, sorry, Dad, because I know my dad listens, and I don't think he'll be mortified by this because it's all in good fun. But all you need to know about this story is that my dad speaks fluent French.
Oh, zoutalou.
Visui la jeune fille. Popier. Yeah, I don't. But yeah, he speaks fluent French. He loves practicing his French and just overall loves everything Paris and French, blah, blah, blah. But one time we were in, I think it was like Tucson at a Burger King in the morning getting breakfast for my brother and I.
The most French place in Arizona.
Yeah, well, we're getting there.
Yep.
But I think me and my brother Dan just we're in the drive-thru and we go like, can we just get like some tater tots and like a breakfast sandwich? So my dad's ordering and he's like, can I get like 2 breakfast sandwiches, 3 things of tater tots, and 1 croissant?
Oh no!
In like absolute perfect French, and the guy working the fast food window is just like, okay.
Very impressed.
Yeah, so that just kind of teased him relentlessly about how he used perfect French for like a Burger King in Tucson. But I mean, like that's how you pronounce it. He's not wrong.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like, where do you draw the line? Like, we've Americanized so many things. Like, the city we live in is not really pronounced Los Angeles, but no one says Los Angeles.
Maybe you should.
Maybe we should.
I always thought that was weird how like the name of the country is like España, and we're like Let's call it Spain.
Yeah.
There must be more to it than that, like how it's like Englishized from Spanish, but like it just seems weird. Like that's not the name of the place.
Dude, I feel like we as a country have just bastardized more language.
That's true.
That like, think about how hard English is to learn. I mean, granted, I speak a little bit of Spanish, but like we've got like silent K's, like why?
Oh,
why
yeah.
don't we like someone spelled, there's no like knife. There's no word that is just N-I-F-E. So why didn't we just spell knife N-I-F-E?
Yeah, there's a lot of insane things like that.
So you're teaching someone who's learning English like, oh, there the K makes no sound, but then if you put it on the other side of the end, it's unk.
It's because, I don't know, this is not why it's because, but I was going to say so many of our words come from other languages, like croissant. It's spelled like croissant, but we don't call it that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like English is gotta be tough.
Yeah, definitely one of the harder languages to learn.
Like there's so many words that have dual meanings that it's pronounced one way in one scenario, another way in another scenario.
I can't imagine.
And it's like, how do you learn the rules of like C's make different sounds?
I before E except after C, and in all these other
and
scenarios.
Sometimes Y.
Yeah. Well, there is one commonality that everyone speaks.
Body
music.
language.
Damn it. That was such an easy segue.
I thought you were going to say body language.
No, I guess we all kind of speak that too.
Yeah.
But I think everyone speaks a language of Creed.
I hope so.
I hope so.
If they don't, they're about to.
That's the mission of the podcast. Get everyone to. And today's song is another Creed song.
What?
Yeah.
Another, really?
Yeah. Today we're covering Inside Us All, which I don't know. You have any memories of this song?
No. Similar to Wash Away These Years, like this song had totally left my brain until I listened to it again for the first time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah. I remember the there's some peace, like came back to me instantly, but I don't really attach any memory to it at all.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, but I do think that listening to it again has sort of been like a little epiphany, a rediscovery, or even an initial discovery, because I do like this song.
Yeah, you relit your fire for it?
Yeah. Come on, baby, light my fire.
Okay.
Well, anyway, I don't have much other to say other than that, so I think we should just get into the song, unless there's anything you want to say.
I don't know. I want to talk about the song, but I want to know about all the facts of the song, because you know I'm big on the facts.
Yeah, I'll fact you up.
Fact me up, baby.
Okay, well, as you can probably imagine, there wasn't a ton of information on what is the last track of the standard edition of Human Clay. But I'm going to start you with a good fact.
Go ahead.
That maybe you didn't know. This is the 11th track.
What?
On Human Clay. And as I said, the final one on the standard edition.
That's awesome.
It was written by Scott and Mark.
Awesome.
And that was the majority of the facts that I found until I dove deep into like page 6 of the Google search. And eventually I found some little tidbits here and there, nothing super interesting or, nothing that I don't think will blow your mind. But in a July 27th, 2024 interview with Music Radar, Mark Tremonti, he mentioned that a lot of songs on Human Clay were written and practiced and sort of fleshed out at sound checks before concerts. When Music Radar asked, well, what about reflective, slower songs on Human Clay, like Wash Away Those Years and Inside Us All? Were they worked at sound checks as well? Tremonti responded, quote, I remember playing Wash Away Those Years at sound checks a lot when we're putting that one together. I can't remember Inside Us All if we played that a lot at sound checks. That's one of those songs that's a very slow, easy song to play. So it's not one like, all right, we're going to play that one tonight because it's fun to play out on our instruments. It's more of a sound bed for a great vocal, End quote.
Nice compliment for Scott there.
Yeah. I thought that was like a little bit of insight into how they feel about the song. Just like, I remember we mentioned on Higher how something that made that song so memorable was just Tremonti's sort of eagerness to play something fun.
Yep.
And that kind of what created the lick that became the hook of the song in a way. And this one, he kind of alludes to the fact that like the song's not super interesting to play. It's more of a free range for Scott to do some crazy stuff with his voice.
I kind of always wondered that about like bands that have ballads that are hits. Not that this one was a big hit, but
yeah,
like in the 80s and 90s especially, I feel like a lot of rock bands had ballads that like were big hits.
Yeah.
So I was like, do like the drummers and guitarists,
have
are
fun.
They just like yawn? Like, do they just hate playing them live because it's just slow and boring to them?
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Or are they like, nah, it's a nice change of pace? And
I would opt to thinking it's the latter, and maybe like a little bit of a respite from rocking out so hard. Maybe you can take things a little slower, let your fingers rest. Let your fingies rest.
Mark, how often do you rest your fingers?
Yeah, how are your calluses? Got to rest them up.
It's pretty personal, man.
Yeah, sorry.
Because calluses don't just come from playing.
That's true. They come from rock climbing.
They come from rock climbing, from
fishing, working out,
woodworking.
Yeah. Lots of
pottery.
Ways. Yeah.
Roughhousing.
Well, I also thought that was sort of an interesting quote too, that it's like easy to play. One, because like I play guitar. I feel like I can't play that. I suck. But also the ending outro with the guitar solo is pretty intense. Like it's like very tippy tappy. There's definitely a more special term for that, but I'm going to stick with tippy tappy.
I think tippy tappy is the technical term.
Yeah. But he's ripping pretty hard at the end of that song.
No,
so
he's tipping pretty
sorry,
hard.
he's doing a pretty intense tippy tappy.
Yeah. Speaking of what, I'm just noticing what most of you are probably just listening, but we're missing the guitar from our podcast studio.
Oh shoot!
What did you do with it?
I think I brought it downstairs and played a little bit.
Oh man!
Shoot, it must be still downstairs.
Are you serenading someone?
My bad. Yeah, my wife.
Wow.
She's like, please just stop.
Is that why she's not here right now?
Yeah, she left. She's disgusted. She's like, tune that thing and turn on the radio.
Won't start playing the beginning to Drive by Incubus over and over.
It's kind of hard. Your fingers really scale the entire fretboard.
That's one of the few intros I learned to play when I was trying to learn how to play guitar. I could play
to impress people.
Drive and the beginning to Enter Sandman by Metallica.
Well, that's like 5 notes.
Don't put me down, dude.
I'm not putting you down.
You know I have trouble learning things because I'm dumb.
Yeah, we all know that.
So be impressed.
Wow.
Thanks.
That's really cool, man.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, you got it. You got it, son. So next I have that a Loudwire article reporting on the new Creed tour as of 2024. It just mentioned that songs that were newly added to the set list were Beautiful, Pity for a Dime, and Inside Us All. To make room for these tracks like Weathered, Overcome, and One, which were on the first reunion show set, were dropped. So maybe a little comeback for this tune.
I definitely wouldn't drop One off of a set list.
What the fuck do you know?
For very many other songs.
You like One.
I love that song.
Yeah.
Love that song.
One is much more upbeat. So maybe they just had too many banksters happening in the set list where they had to kind of change up the pace.
That is not going to catch on.
It's going to catch on. Hashtag bankster. Well, that said, these last two facts kind of go together, but from the kind of consensus I gained online is I think this song has a little bit of like a cult classic sort of feel to it. Like a lot of people seem to really like this one as an underappreciated deep cut.
Really?
Yeah. Same with Pity for a Dime. They're kind of linked together as songs that fans have been kind of clamoring for at their new shows. But
that's surprising to me, honestly. Not that I dislike the song. We'll do scores at the end, obviously, but
yeah,
I'm surprised it has like its own little cult following.
Yeah, I guess every song definitely has its audience that probably clamor for it to be played at live shows. But as we'll cover more in this song, I do think there's something very like reflective and I don't know, spiritual about it in a way that I could see people really kind of getting into.
At every live show I go to, no matter who is playing,
Freebird,
I always yell for them to play "Don't Look Back in Anger."
Oh, that's a good song. In all fairness,
they rarely do.
They could probably figure it's like just 5 open chords.
So I might even be able to play it.
Yeah,
and
you could learn
established. Dumb. Yeah.
Well, my last fact for you, buddy, is that according to Loudwire, as of July 2023, Creed's least played song off Human Clay live was Inside Us All. They'd only played it 27 times to that date.
Wow.
Contrast that with Higher as their most played with 255 times.
I mean, I'm just looking at the track list now. Like that's surprising to me. Maybe the only ones I could see that would be, I would guess would be played less, maybe would be
Like Beautiful or something.
Beautiful or like Never Die.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, either way, the numbers have definitely changed since it's been about a year and a half since then. And as I alluded to, that this has been added to the set list. So I guess those numbers are climbing.
I mean, yeah, I guess they are, yeah.
Well, that's it. That's it for my facts. There was nothing in Sinner's Creed about this song at all. The only reference to it was in the inclusion of the lyrics to Human Clay. But there's no extra context I can give you about how it was conceived or, really anything else about it.
That's okay. I forgive you.
Thanks. Thank you.
I do. I'm not going to hold this against you.
We'll have those occasional songs that don't have much information on them, like all the upcoming bonus track episodes. I'm sure we'll need to get real creative.
We'll dig deep. Or
we will.
Or we'll just make up facts.
That's a better idea.
No
one could disprove us.
No.
So, all that said, how about diving into the lyrics?
Hit me.
Okay, let's do it. When I'm all alone and no one else is there, waiting by the phone to remind me I'm still here.
Yeah, to me, it's just painting a picture of like feelings of sadness and loneliness, isolation.
Yeah.
Looking for someone to assure him that it's okay. Everything's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty straightforward, but powerful in that it sets the table for like what
dinner.
The tone of the song. It sets the table for dinner. Yes. And for dinner, we're having depression tonight.
Yeah. Mm. I like the phrase. Did you just remember the phrase waiting by the phone? I feel like that's something that's just gone because you always have your phone on you. But I just feel like that used to be used so constantly of just like someone who's like the idea of waiting by the phone for someone to call to tell you, to talk to you, remind you that you're a person.
Yeah. I think it still works as like a metaphor of like
sitting on my phone.
Yeah, sitting directly on top of my phone.
Yeah.
Waiting for my ass to vibrate.
Yeah.
So I know that everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
That's the 2025 version.
That's why they added it back to the playlist, because it's going to have
I think you changed the lyrics.
Current lyrics that reflect current technology.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
I agreed pretty much with everything you said. I thought this totally screams like numbness, and the painting of solitude. I just got the idea that if he doesn't have someone around him asking him questions, making him feel like engaged, he's like kind of slips into his self-deprecating state. So waiting by the phone gives that imagery of I need that stimuli to remind myself I'm human and to kind of bring me out of my funk.
Yeah, I agree.
Shall we move on?
Let's keep going.
When shadows paint the scenes where spotlights used to fall, and I'm left wondering, is it really worth it all?
Yeah, I think the first two lines, when shadows paint the scenes where spotlights used to fall.
I broke it up that way too.
Yeah, I think we're more alike than we think, Andrew.
We're friends.
We should be friends. We're not.
No.
But we should be.
We'll do something outside the podcast one time.
Really?
No.
You'll be seen with me in public?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Well, then this song represents how I feel about trying to have a friendship with you.
Okay.
I guess. But I think those first two lines, I think he's just questioning when the fame and the notoriety and the busyness of being Scott Stapp, being this person,
famous,
are gone, being famous are gone. He knows that we all end up alone, with our thoughts at some point. I guess that's getting into the next lines, but I think the first one is just saying, the first two are just saying, all that stuff is going to go away. At some point, we end up in our own head. And then, what does that look like? So, and I'm left wondering, is it really worth it all? Like I said, we all end up alone. And I think anybody who's pushed really hard on something, whether it's a 9-to-5 job, an artistic endeavor, personal endeavor, everyone, I think, has a point where is all this worth it? It's like the time away from my friends worth it, the time away from my family worth it, the time away from my kids. Like I could have been doing so many other things. Is it worth it? So I think in his case, he's probably thinking about asking those questions about just being in a massively huge band. Because right, this is 99. Like this is the peak fame.
Yeah.
Maybe not when the song was written, but they were on their way there. So I think it's just questioning if that is all that touring, time in the studio, press, all that stuff, is it worth it in the long run?
Yeah, I think I'm generally on the same page. I think with the first stanza that you mentioned, when shadows paint the scenes where spotlights used to fall, I think that's clearly alluding to like, okay, the tour or the show is over and now I'm in the silence of my own room where there's just like darkness, and instead of crowds cheering, it's just you're left alone with your thoughts. And I think that like he's in a way he's kind of alluding to the fact that he's using those really high energy things to fill that like loneliness inside of him. So when all the fame is gone, whether it's like the finality of fame is gone or just like the tour is over and he's kind of going back to a more structured life, it's like, is it worth it to fill this emptiness inside him with all these external things? Is it worth the fame when he feels so empty when it's not there, is what I wrote down. So it sort of feels like all these distractions are the things that are making him feel whole, so that when he's gone and, like you said, like resigned to his own thoughts, is when that emptiness comes back, and it kind of goes into the next part. But I think he feels uncomfortable with that silence.
Like uncomfortable with like quote unquote regular life.
Yeah, and not being, constantly distracted by fame and concerts and friends and music, and just like being left alone with your own thoughts.
I like that.
Yeah.
I don't like being left alone with my own thoughts.
No, that's why we have phones to play YouTube videos when we're by ourselves.
Is that all you do?
Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
I guess. I play solitaire sometimes.
That's a good move.
Yeah. It doesn't really help with the loneliness, but...
Well, when you win, all the cards jump out at you and make you feel good.
That's true. Dude, yeah. I usually smile when that happens. And
do you play one card or 3 card?
Oh, 1.
Oh, you are such a little bitch.
No. Yeah. That's the only way to play.
No, 3 card.
No.
You just win every time?
Isn't that... 1 card is the original version of solitaire.
I disagree.
Okay, that doesn't make it not true.
This is like the bowling for soup fiasco all over again.
Say blowing for soup?
Bowling.
Oh, they said blowing for soup. Who are they blowing? And is it on the soup? Are they blowing someone for soup?
We should make a cover band called Blowing for Soup. That's a great idea. I only know one Bowling for Soup song off the top of my head, but we can learn it.
I can play the beginning of 2 songs on the guitar for our
1985.
Band. What?
Oh.
No, 2, not Bowling for Soup songs.
Oh, well, that doesn't help.
I know. I'm just saying what I can bring to the table, and I can't sing very well.
You can't bring shit to the table.
I can run around on stage with shirtless, with a towel over my shoulder and a bottle of alcohol to pour into people's mouths.
Newsflash for you.
I'm a hype man.
Any idiot can do that.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, let's get to the chorus, dummy.
Okay.
There's a peace inside us all. Let it be your friend. It will help you carry on in the end. There's a peace inside us all.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
I believe, to me, the chorus is trying to communicate that if we are willing to be still and actually like appreciate it, that we all have the ability to find inner peace, inner stillness, inner, like a baseline of happiness, I think. And then, let it be your friend. It will help you carry on in the end. I think just letting yourself experience peace is a powerful, powerful thing that can help you just kind of get through life with your sanity intact. If you have that baseline to return to of like, I know how to find it. I'm comfortable with some silence. I'm comfortable with some stillness. You learn how to make it like a home within yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is sort of a message to himself in contrast to the previous verse where it's clear that he's uncomfortable being alone. I think this is saying that we have, when those moments of silence come up and there's nothing to distract us, we don't have to fill that void with some other distraction, but rather we should let the silence be our friend and sit in the silence and be comfortable with our own thoughts and ourselves. Because in those moments where you don't have anyone to distract you, you're home alone, You don't have to turn on YouTube on your phone and watch First Things First to see the new Nick Wright's takes on football. You don't have to watch an old 5 Seconds of Summer video and listen to She Looks So Perfect standing there in her American Apparel underwear.
Mm-hmm. That's so classic.
Those are two things I do a lot. I like that song.
So you watch football takes and listen to Five Sauce?
Yeah, I watch a lot of football YouTube clips.
Just of your favorite team, the Eagles, or just in general?
No, like national media as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
While you're listening to Five Sauce?
No, two separate things. Sometimes I'm in a music mood. Sometimes I'm in a sports talk mood.
Okay.
But apparently, according to Scott Stapp, I'm doing it wrong. Because I should just be comfortable in that silence.
You need to. I need to not be watching Johnny Drama highlight compilations from Entourage.
Yeah.
But that's what I like to do.
Victory. So, yeah, I think what he's saying is letting the silence be your friend and getting comfortable in that silence and in the uncomfortable moments will only help you in the end when you're dead and there is only silence and no one puts a YouTube phone in your coffin, so you can't be watching no sports takes while you're dead.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. But okay. I do think he is saying like it'll help you move on in life and be more fulfilled, especially in the end when it's only silence.
So do you think that in the end there's referencing death?
I think so.
Okay. I didn't read it like that. I read just like, people were like, well, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter either way. I read it just like, in the end, like whether you like it or not, there is a peace inside us.
You know that like expression, it's like you're born alone and you die alone.
Yeah.
Get comfortable with yourself.
And your entire life you're going to spend alone.
Sad. You're born alone, you die alone, you poop alone, you jerk off alone.
I've never pooped alone.
You pooped alone.
I refuse.
That's disgusting.
I'm not comfortable doing it alone.
Well, maybe you should.
But I didn't read that as death, but that's interesting. I kind of like that now.
Yeah, well, pretty smart.
Yeah, good job.
Okay. Closing out with the second verse. Life can hold you down when you're not looking up. Can't you hear the sounds? Hearts beating out loud.
Mm-hmm. First two lines, life can hold you down when you're not looking up. It's just life / the world / navigating other people's bullshit can feel very weighty. I think that when you're not looking up, I think that's just Scott's clever way of saying, like, keep your head up.
Yeah.
Like, just metaphorically, keep your head up, like, keep your spirits up, keep your hopes up.
Yeah, I think it's like,
etc.
I agree. I think it's saying it's like it's easy to spiral and be kept down when you're looking down and looking toward the negatives.
Yep.
That's sort of how I took it.
Yep. And then can't you hear the sounds, hearts beating out loud? I just took that to mean that every human has a heart, and we're not always great about paying attention to what other people are feeling and experiencing. I think you could be saying that so that we have empathy for people, or so that we can learn from and be inspired by others. But just think like the hearts beating out loud. Obviously, you can't really hear someone's heart unless you are close to them.
Maybe you can't.
Can you?
I have supersonic hearing.
Dude,
yeah,
that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's encouraging like just a closeness of humanity, because the only way to hear someone's heart is if you're like right next to them. So that I think he's just saying, he's not saying put your ear up to strangers' chests to hear their heartbeat, but I think it's like, yeah, it's okay to be close to people because it helps you understand what they're going through. You also might be inspired by them or just learn a valuable life lesson from them.
Yeah, I kind of took it to mean like, can't you hear the sounds, hearts beating out loud, being like, you can only really hear the heartbeats of others when you're quiet yourself and you're comfortable and you're not diluting your brain with these other distractions. But I think living in that silence and opening yourself up to other people in that way, like just listening instead of drowning out the noise, will only like help you realize how similar we all are.
Just don't drown out our podcast, though. You could listen to us.
Yeah. Speaking of, it's always a great idea to have a podcast in the background.
Always.
Don't want to be left alone.
Or in the foreground.
Yeah, any ground.
Live life in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Podcast in the foreground.
And then I also think he's sort of saying that, like, hearts beating out loud. Just, I don't know, I get the idea of saying, like, everybody is sort of more similar than we think.
Which makes sense considering the next set of lines,
yes,
doesn't it?
Which is,
oh,
although the names change, inside we're all the same. Why can't we tear down these walls to show the scars we're covering?
Yeah, man. This is my favorite set of lyrics from the song. Because I think he's saying, like, humans have and will continue to just rotate through this world, man. Like, it feels like we're here for a long time. In the grand scheme of things, none of us are. And just inside, we're all the same. I think it's just a way of him saying we're all more similar than we'd like to admit.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, like, we highlight differences more than similarities and use those as reasons to denigrate other people, to separate ourselves from other people. And I think he sees that we as a human race are just so guarded and I guess scared of each other, scared of being ourselves with each other. I don't know, but maybe both of those things. I think more the scared of being ourselves with each other, because in that last line is, and show the scars we're covering. Like, dude, we all have shit that we hide or are embarrassed about. So, like, who really fucking cares?
Right.
Like, and if we all just let those things be exposed, it'll never happen just because of human nature, but the world, would be an improved place.
If everybody had a podcast,
if everybody knew
closer.
Everybody's business, we'd all be closer.
It's true. Yeah, I think this is almost a little bit of a different message than the previous verse. Because the last one, I feel like the first one's totally about, like, being comfortable with yourself in silence. But I guess this sort of leads into, like, when we're comfortable with ourselves in silence, we don't dilute our personalities with these external things. And we just embrace who we are and show the world who we are. And then when we do that, we can be like, oh, you got a scar across your nipple? I got one across my back.
Oh, your back nipple.
Yep. So
or rear nipple.
I think what he's saying is when we boil ourselves down to humans instead of defining ourselves by all these external noises, we're all pretty similar and we're all human beings, man.
We are. And I agree with you that I think the song is kind of covering the process of, like say, before you can love someone else, you got to love yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's why he starts the
Justin
song
Bieber
starts
said
like
that, yeah.
He did?
Go ahead and love yourself.
Justice Beaver?
Yeah.
Who's Justice Beaver?
He's a crime-fighting beaver.
Yeah, I think the song is describing the process of, like, being a more open person, and it starts with, like, being able to be still and be comfortable with yourself.
Totally.
That's what I think.
I agree, man. And I think that's kind of a common message on Human Clay. It just feels like just really embracing our similarities, especially like songs like Higher. A lot of it is about coming together and loving up on each other because we're all human beings just doing our best. Except for those assholes like that John C. Reilly. What was his name? Not the actor.
Oh.
The guy talking shit on Stab.
John Seaborn Gray.
Yeah, fuck you.
Fuck you. We're back,
We're
dude.
not done. You thought we were done?
You thought you were off the hook?
Never.
But you saying that this, like, song/album are more, like, introspective, I think it is interesting because My Own Prison, like, dealt a lot with external stuff, and then Human Clay more with internal,
a lot of self-reflection
struggles. Yeah, which I guess the albums are then aptly named because if you're being imprisoned, like,
it's an external thing.
Yeah, even if you built it for yourself, it's still an external thing that's keeping you in, keeping you away from whatever. And then, Human Clay is, at least as far as I know, that is another, like, biblical reference because the Bible talks about God molding us like clay when we let him.
Yeah, I believe that was part of the inspiration for.
Yeah. So, but just like a much more, like, work on yourself thing. Whereas, like, My Own Prison had, like, in America, like, a lot of
Pity for a Dime.
Yes. A lot of, like, anger at the world and things that are going on. Mm-hmm. And this one's a lot more, like, just from the inside.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I'd never really noticed that before until we...
Thank God for this podcast.
Saved my fucking life.
Yeah,
bro.
Me too, man. Well, that's it for the song. The remaining lyrics are all repetition of the chorus. So no real new insights for you there. With regard to any official meaning from the band, I wasn't able to find anything, Reed. Nobody ever said shit about this song.
Darn.
Scott didn't say anything that I found. Neither did Mark. So I went to the next best thing.
Reddit.
Random people on the internet.
Let's go.
Not on Reddit. Even Reddit didn't have much. So I went to songmeanings.com.
Yeah, I found some good stuff there too.
Yeah.
From like 25 years ago.
This one is from 20 years ago.
Yes.
Written by The Exile.
How you doing, Exile?
The Exile. Thank you. Right. The Exile writes, Inside Us All is the best song to come out by the runway Christian rockers Creed since their conception. It deals with depression, its effects, and the light at the end of the tunnel that we all strive to find. Which is a weird way, because the light at the end of the tunnel makes me think of like, well, I guess not necessarily, but like death and going to heaven.
No. I will. You are absolutely wrong.
Train at the end of the tunnel. Get hit by it.
When people say there's a light at the end of the tunnel, it's like they can see a glimmer of hope.
Yeah, you're right.
Andrew's been thinking everyone's depressed.
Yeah.
My God, man, all these people say they can see a light at the end of the tunnel. Like they're all dying, I think.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
You learned something new today, though.
Well, yeah.
Who's the dummy now?
You.
Yeah, you're right. Still is. Fuck.
Those are things we touched on, like maybe depression. I don't know. I mean, like I think it's kind of oversimplification to say like it deals with depression because it's a multifaceted thing.
Yeah, but I do appreciate that, like, someone who needs to hear that message is able to interpret it that way.
Okay, Mr. Goody, Papa Teresa.
I do. But the weird thing for me is that, honestly, and maybe it's because we just talked about Wash Away Those Years, this song, in comparison to Wash Away Those Years, feels like a light and airy pop ballad, like just subject matter wise.
Yeah.
So it's weird that they're back to back on the album.
Yeah.
Like this one feels like it might lose some of its punch because it comes after Wash Away Those Years.
Yeah, I hear you. We'll get into a little bit about how we feel about the song too in a bit, but I did want to go over one more review from Song Meanings.
Okay.
This is important, so please listen.
I'm all ears, bro.
This is from Zaxter from 23 years ago. Creed rocks.
Yeah.
But this song is kind of depressing. Songs like this give me inspiration for my short stories.
Is that the whole comment?
No, there's frowny face, smiley face after that.
Okay. I want to know what short stories Zaxter has been writing for the last 23 years.
Songs like these give me inspiration for my short stories.
Can you click on usernames in songmeanings.net?
I don't think so. You think he's got like song meaning or short stories posted?
Maybe, or at least like links to them.
We could try, but I wasn't able to find anything. No.
Well,
does that give you any more insight into what we discussed today?
Zaxter, not specifically.
Oh, come on.
But I do appreciate that it inspired someone else artistically, I guess.
Well, you haven't read these short stories. What if they're horrible?
They might be. It's the Light at the End of the Tunnel series, and it's all about people slowly trudging towards death. What if
Zaxter is like the guy who wrote The Maze Runner or something?
Like what if it's who's a big writer that's named Zach?
Zach Cherry.
Zach, is that a made up name?
No, he's an actor.
Oh. What if it was like Zach Galifianakis or something?
Another actor. But yeah, maybe.
I know, but I can't think of a writer or a director.
Could you imagine? I would really want them to admit that they're Zaxter and really bring out that review into the public eye.
I want to just know what he's been doing. Like, let's have some accountability. If you say you're going to write short stories, you better be writing some fucking short stories.
They better be somewhere on the internet.
Yeah, you've had 2 decades.
Yeah, over.
To do it.
Well, that's it for all my information on the song Read. So I think it's time that we get into our final thoughts and score the song on a scale of 1 to 5 yes.
Great. Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, I did not really recall this song until I heard it. It had exited my rotting brain. But
that gross thing up there in your noggin?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing. I do like the song. I like the message. I like the kind of introspection of it. And I actually think I think they should have put Wash Away Those Years earlier on the album because I think this is a nice close to this album. I think it's fitting. I think it's a nice bow to Human Clay. The guitar near the end, I really enjoyed.
Great solo.
The tippy-tappy.
The tippy-tappy strategy.
The tippy-tappy strategy on the solo. It's It's working. But, I've said this before. Creed, I think of as bangers, man. Bangsters, sorry. Just like rocking out.
They really write bangster after bangster.
And this is not a bangster.
No.
So I appreciate the message. I appreciate the tippy tappies. I appreciate the bow on the album. That said, I'm going to give this a score of 2 yeahs.
Wow.
2 even.
Low.
But not my lowest.
Low.
Not my lowest for this album.
Fuck you, man.
Whoa.
Fuck you. You're just another John C. Grayborn.
Whoa.
I can never remember that guy's
I'm not
name.
hating on it, dude. I gave Never Die 1.25 and Faceless Man 1.5.
Yeah, you gave Mark Tremonti's favorite song a 1.5.
I have 4 other songs rated below this, just on this album.
Okay.
Am I too critical? Am I? Fuck.
I guess we'll discover that throughout the rest of the podcast. Are you too critical?
I might be a snob.
Yeah, you might be. Like I alluded to off the top, I really like this song a lot. I am one, as I mentioned on last week's episode, to really like the emotional, deep-cutting songs. I just think they resonate with me for some reason more. Like, just feels like more blood, sweat, and tears were poured into it, and that makes me, like, appreciate it more. What I really dig is the intro, and sort of like it kind of like feels really introspective in that way. And it just seems like so, like when it's building, it's really going to build to something epic. The song loses me a little bit is during the chorus. I just with like the words that drag out so long, where they really hold like inside us all for however many beats. It just feels like it drags a little bit.
Okay.
And I don't really want to come back to the chorus part because it's not like that fun to sing along to, and I feel like it doesn't pay off how epic the intro is. It just kind of hits that middle ground and kind of stays there. But I do really like the outro, the guitar part. I think this is like, it's funny because even though Tremonti labeled this as sort of like a bed for Scott to showcase his skills, it still feels like to me it's more of a Tremonti song.
Really?
Yeah, I really love the guitar in this song and just how epic it sort of feels. And I guess I don't know what about the tone of Tremonti's guitar, but on this album it just feels like everything he's playing is so like important. Like it's really delivering some sort of important message. So I really like this song, but yeah, I think the chorus kind of drags it down a little bit for me, where it's not like super engaging kind of, and also it's a long song, and I think as good as the outro is and the tippy tappy portion, it does drag on a little bit long. I think it's like right on the border of 4 for me, but I don't think it quite gets there.
Okay, so what are you giving it?
So I'm going to give it a 3.75 yes.
Okay, a 3.75 out of 5 from Andrew, a 2 from me. I feel like a dick now.
You are a dick, but that's okay.
But,
You like what you like. This is what I talked about last episode, is that music is in the eye of the listener.
Dude.
Ear.
It's in the eye, it's in the ear of the heart.
Yeah.
Of each and every listener.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you said that, because any art is so subjective.
Yeah.
And I really dislike when people are like, that music sucks.
I hate that too.
That movie sucks. Like, no, if everybody agreed on what type of music was great, there'd only be one kind of music.
I think especially music to me, I think is the most subjective art form. Well, one of them, I guess, one mainstream one, because there's so much of it and there's so many different genres and so many different styles, and it comes from so many different background, like countries and all over the world. It's like, how do you define what's good music?
Well, and people connect with music differently than their art, I think. It's like so many songwriters, leave the lyrics like a little bit inexplicit. So like we're experiencing the same song through 2 different lenses.
Yeah.
It's like this song might mean a lot to somebody and be like their favorite song because something really hits home. Whereas me, I'm like, okay, it's a good song, nice bow for the album, not my favorite.
But yeah, I think that's even just more true with music than like movies. Like, I mean, movies, I think too, there's a lot of subjectivity. But at the end of the day, like movies and TV are also like narratives, and a narrative can be generally like less well written, I guess. I don't know. That feels hypocritical for me to say that about music and not about movies, but it just feels like there's so much more subjectivity to music.
I think it could be that we are just using only one sense to intake the music, whereas like with a movie, like we're using our
That's true.
eyes and our ears, and like, you know,
I taste music.
You do?
Yeah.
What did this song taste like?
Like
a croissant?
No, good callback. I would say like honey on a bagel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honey's good on a lot of things, so
yeah, I love honey.
That's cool.
So yeah, I feel like we could go on a whole rambling side conversation about the subjectivity of music versus other forms of media, but at the end of the day, we taste music differently, and we smell it differently, and
it's got different textures. It's different to the touch. I touch music.
I see it in colors, like Charlie XCX and Pharrell or something. So they see colors or some shit.
Music has got me rocking side to side like Ariana Grande.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, thanks, man.
You had sex.
What?
That song's about sex.
It is?
Yeah.
No!
Yeah, sorry, bud.
I thought it was about swaying to your favorite ballad.
Definitely not.
Damn.
Well, anyway, Reed, I think it's time we make our escape.
What is sex?
Try again?
What is sex?
I think it's time we make our escape.
Let's go there.
For my own podcast, I'm Andrew Colin.
I'm Reid Fenlaw.
Bye-bye.
See you in the future.